Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. Well, let's start with this. 5.7 to white. Looks like white's won this one. So this is my game with Ian, which I just resigned. Really well played by Ian. Really well played. Let's go from the beginning because it's a very good place to start. So, Smith-Morra Gambit. This much is really all theory. This is all really well known. Now here, I chose not to take, I chose to back off. The engine prefers to take. Okay, but anyway. When Ian played g4, I thought it was wrong. Engine doesn't think it's wrong. This push is engine approved, although it prefers queen e2, but with the push soon afterward. Well, prefers queen e2. But white's better, according to the engine. Now, I didn't want to take the queens off, but actually looks like I should have, by the look of it. I didn't want to take the queens off because I didn't want to put the rook on the open file. I wanted to be a purist, but you know what? I should have taken them off. And again, here, should have taken them off. This was not a good move, actually. It was following another game, and there's a lesson there, isn't there? Don't follow other people. I actually like the look of e6. I should have played e6 or taken on d1. So I played this, and already it's worse. I didn't know. I had no idea. This is a good move. Engine likes this. This wasn't catastrophic. I mean, I preferred bishop e7 castling and just letting the b7 pawn go, and the engine kind of likes that. It prefers bishop b4, but same sort of idea. Bishop e7, okay. Queen d4, and it's starting to go. It likes my move here. It likes this, but look, it thinks white's already better. It's fascinating, isn't it, how the evaluation changes? Because I'm sort of playing the engine moves, but its position's just going downhill. And here, you have to play bishop g7. You can't take that rook in the corner. I thought, oh, we'll just take both rooks for the queen. But now that really has gone. No, and then Ian found the right way perfectly, actually. Well done. Well done. Okay, so what do I learn from this? What I learn is if you're going to play hyper sharp lines, you've got to know the line and you've got to do the analysis. You can't just turn up and play some moves that look good. You've got to really work, and that's good to know, right? Because if you're going to play instinctively or by hand, then you've got to play solid. So well played, Ian. That was a really good game, and it was instructive, and it will help me think differently when I face the same opening. You know, I'll do a bit of work on my own just getting my head around this. So let's go through these from the bottom, as they say, the ones where I've not yet lost. So how do I do this? I go back. So this is the game. So here I played h4, hoping to start some kind of attack on the king's side. The one against Tom, I played e5, and he pre-moved the sort of knight takes, so I assume it's just going to be takes, but I'm not rushing it because these things need to be enjoyed. Here on this game, I just played e6. I thought about playing e5, but e6 is not a bad move, is it? Bishop e7, just get castled, the sort of standard Schwenningen thing. I think normally you expect a knight around d4, but what's happened here is the queen has captured on d4 and gone back. So I think white might be a tempo or two down in this line. We'll see. Here, I had to take with the queen, and the queen, I mean, I guess white can probably could play c4 here. Queen goes back home, and then there is always a check on a5. The game against Gareth, I played bishop h6, which is attacking the knight, and I suppose this is a plausible sequence. Knight here, takes, pawn takes. Then we'll see what to do with the rook. Slightly annoyingly, the knight's covering the f8 square, so we have to evict the knight. We'll see, but that sort of idea. Yeah. This one against Keith, I played knight g4. I guess I've got some ideas here. I wouldn't mind if the bishop took back with the bishop, because e6 looks so weak. I wouldn't mind my knight arriving on h6 at some point. Or even, if I take with the bishop, the king can't take, because then the queen arrives on h6. You know, I think the knight's quite good there. It's a natural square for the knight, isn't it? So I think white's a little bit better here, but we shall see. I've been wrong before, quite recently. This one, against Nigel, I played rook e8 with the idea of playing e5. I also have a variation in mind if white plays e5 first. I mean, you have to have looked at that, right, as black. Let's look at the rest of the games. This one. Okay. This one. I just brought my king up. I mean, I think this is heading for a draw. I think black's a bit worse. I might try and swap off the queenside pawns at some point. But yeah, this one's a struggle, frankly. So I'd be happy to get a draw. Gary. So I took the piece, and I assume that Gary's going to get a rook and 2 pawns for 2 pieces here, which is quite an interesting sequence. I did think about taking on a7, but I think on balance it's fine to take the piece, allow the skewer, and then hopefully hang on with 2 pieces versus a rook and 2 pawns. Would be interesting. It'd be an interesting mixed material game. It's a good idea. This one. Okay, so I played this move which I was thinking about playing. Queen f6, hitting the rook and hitting the pawn on f2. It's pretty hard for white to get out of this. I think black might be a bit better. Certainly taking here doesn't work. I mean, I think in the last video I think I talked about bishop here. But actually, I think you can sacrifice your queen, can't you? Check. Just play queen there. So, and then bishop takes, rook takes. So, don't think you can take the pawn. I mean, I guess there's ways of... I don't know, really. I suppose that this queen sacrifice is still a risk, isn't it? Even if the rook moves. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. I think black might be a bit better there. This one, did I look at the game versus Justin? I castled. Castling is the main move here, and it looks sensible. I mean, white's not going long there, so that looks sensible. We've looked at that one. The game versus Liam, I took this pawn on b2, I couldn't resist. I took this pawn on b2. I think white's okay here. We've got knight e5. That knight's hanging. If it moves, I might take 2 rooks for the queen, although, you know, once bitten, twice shy on that one. Didn't work out very well against Ian, did it? So we'll have to think about that if that happens. You know, if the knight comes here, we'll have to think about if I really fancy taking 2 rooks for the queen. I might do something else. You know, I might just play knight. Well, I suppose there's a check here, though. We've got to do something about that knight. Alright, that is certainly a move, is knight here. So I'll think about that if it happens. This one, I decided to put the rook on b1 here to stop. It doesn't completely rule out, but it basically stops rook b8, because then I can take twice on b8. So it basically tries to fight for control of the b file. Oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning here. Okay. This one, I found this quite hard. I thought pawn e4 would be good, defended by the bishop, trying to get those pawns moving in the centre and on the king's side, because black stopped my cunning and subtle idea of rook d7. So that seemed like the most useful thing to do. Hopefully we can get things rolling on the queen's side. The game against Stuart, I took the pawn. It's the kind of book move, and then I think the next move they play knight d5, which is completely thematic here. Knight d5, and it looks like you're meant to take the bishop. Queen takes the castle, and there's a famous Karpov game in this line where Karpov wins beautifully. I mean, there's a lot of games in this line. There's hundreds of games in this line. It's almost the main line of the Queen's Gambit declined. I mean, it's the Queen's Gambit declined orthodox, so it's a very familiar position for a lot of people. This one against Mark, I actually think I'm in a bit of trouble here. I'm in more trouble than I thought I was. So I played knight f3. I did look at this move h3 to stop the attack on h2. But here's the thing: pawn takes. You can't take the knight because this is mate. It's a bit embarrassing. So you take the pawn, and then this fork here is kind of painful. I mean, okay, white can take, but still the queen and the bishop are being hit. This pawn's being hit. This pawn's loose. It's just really tough. So all of a sudden, white's in a bit more trouble than white thought he was. So white's played knight f3, and this stuff doesn't quite work. So takes. You can't just take here and then take on h2, because luckily I create myself an escape square just at the critical moment. That's good, isn't it? And you can't even fork the queen and the king because the rook's now covering it. Phew! Dreams come true. So we're not dead there yet. We're hanging on, is what we're doing. Hanging on. And then this one. Yeah, we played h4. So that's it. I'll look at the correspondence tournament next time. I hope you're all well, and I'll see you soon.